My hobby is to play games, like mainly RPGs, but also strategy and action adventure games as well. Strategy games are a completely different experience from the role-playing game because it's not story-based. It's basically a way of testing your intelligence and keeping your mind sharpened. It's how well you can organize yourself and think of a strategy to overcome opponents. If I was in okay mood and my mind was clear, I'd play strategy games. If I was in a bad mood, I'd play role-playing games. If there's something's not going quite right and you need to get your mind off it for an hour or something, then you might go play Fallout 4 or a different game or something. In Fallout 4, you've starts of a nuclear war and you and your family are taken to vaults underground for safety, but it turns out to be cover-up and you and your family are frozen for 200 years. And in that time, you see your wife get murdered and your son kidnapped. And when eventually you escape the freezing chamber, you go out into now post-apocalyptic world 200 years later, and you've got to try and find your son. Yeah, you tend to feel better after playing the game because you've accomplished something in the game, at least you feel you have, and it's giving you something else to focus on. Yeah, you feel better to deal with the problems in the real world because you've had time to relax and your mind might be in a better state. What would make decide to play one game over another is probably the story, the gameplay, and the level of creative freedom you have in the game. In some games, you can customize what your character looks like or behaves like. But in that case, you can make a character who is exactly like you, but in most cases, it'll be similar to you, but a more idealistic version, like how you want to be seen, rather than how you actually are. I usually make characters kind of charismatic or confident just because I'm not that way in reality. So, like in some games, you would want instead not be the hero and be a villain instead. So, an example of that would be probably Star Wars games in which you can play as the Sith or the Empire. So the Sith would like usually kill people who don't necessarily deserve it. And it's just a very different story from if you were playing the good guy. So it's not something you would do all the time, but sometimes it's fun to do. I was introduced to games by my older brother, who I had watched him play games, so I was aware of their existence, but I didn't play games a lot when I was younger than a teenager because I didn't like challenges then, and they were difficult. The first game I ever actually played all the way through was Infamous, which after I completed that and beat the most powerful person in the game, I realised it's not that bad. So I wasn't afraid of the challenge anymore, so I went looking for it again. And so eventually I got more confidence in real life as well. I probably wouldn't like Fallout 4 as much if it took itself too seriously, but it doesn't. Like some of the way it presents some of the information is done purely through comical animation. So it might be showing you something like someone getting shot and then exploding it, but it's done in a cartoony fashion, so it's lightened on. I don't think any game, strategy or RPG games I play that take themselves too seriously. There's always some sort of comedy. The thing I don't like about games is when it's too similar to real life. Some games strive to be as realistic as possible, but I don't want that. Because I want a different world to go to than the one I'm already living in.